Hey everyone, this is Jesse coming at you with a review of a brand new Apple accessory that I just purchased yesterday, and I'll get to that in just a second. But before I talk about that, let me mention why I purchased this. I've decided to ditch my DirecTV. That's what I use to get get a TV signal, and I've decided that I'm paying way too much for it. At $68.99 a month, that I get like it's not the basic. It's like the next step up from the basic package. And I also pay for HD on that, and that price is $68.99 a month. So over the course of a year, I'm paying over $800. For as much as I'm watching TV, I figured that is way, way too much money that I'm just pissing away. So what I decided to do was get rid of my DirecTV. At the moment, I still have it. I was waiting until after the Super Bowl today to get rid of it. Um, but I decided to ditch the DirecTV, not go with cable, not go with satellite. Instead, I purchased a Mac Mini, which I'm going to be hooking up to my TV just as soon as it arrives. I have no idea where that's at. That's a completely separate issue. But as soon as that arrives, I'm going to be hooking that up to my HD TV here, and I'm going to be watching internet TV. The stuff that I watch is normally on the networks anyways, or readily available on Hulu, so practically anything I want to watch is on there. And I also have a Netflix account, so I got streaming there. I have access to their DVD library, so I'm pretty much covered. So with that said, buying the Mac Mini, I thought I better go ahead and buy the remote. So that's what I did. I purchased the Apple remote here. Now these remotes used to come with the computers, but at some point, and I'm thinking it was maybe 2 years ago or so, actually maybe when this version of the remote came out, no, I know it was a little bit before then. In any case, at some point they stopped releasing the remotes with the Mac computers. They used to be included with the MacBooks as well as the iMacs, and they don't seem to include those anymore for whatever reason. Now here is the original Apple remote. I got this with my iMac. As you can see there, it is white, plastic, and we have 6 different buttons there on the face. We have volume up and down. We have next track and previous track, and play and pause is a combo button there. That also acts as like the enter button to select something within the menu. And then we also have the menu button right there. And if you look on the back, you can also see, my camera will focus here, the Apple logo right there. That was the previous version. This was released in October 2005 and was available until October 2009, at which point Apple replaced it with the new version that you see here. The new version isn't plastic. This is actually crafted out of aluminum. This remote here actually has 7 buttons on it. They moved the play and pause into its own location here. Excuse me, over here. This is the menu button here. Then we have volume up, down, previous track, and next track. And then we have the button here in the center. There we go. We have the button there in the center that acts as the enter button, sort of like on a DVD remote or whatever, to select something within the menu. So it adds an additional button, moves the play and pause button down into its own location here. But essentially it's still the same remote. Now if we compare these, you'll see that the original remote here is quite a bit smaller, whereas the new one is quite a bit longer here. If we do a lay over the top here, just to show you, and there you go. In terms of width, they're about the same width, but if you look here at the depth, that's the new one, and this is the old one. So quite a bit of difference there. This is the IR sensor there on the top of the remote in the old one. On the new one, it's just this tiny little spot up there on top. And then you also have access to the battery cover here in the back of this remote. You just insert a coin in there and turn it. I have no idea how you replace the battery in this old one. I've never had to do that, and I don't see a port to do it. So maybe you don't replace it. I don't know. But the original remote here, you'll notice there's not that much of a distance between the bottom and the button here. But even though that happens to be the case, it's pretty accessible, at least with my hand, to get to all the buttons on here. It's definitely not a problem. It's not uncomfortable. And the new remote here, since it is longer, you have quite a bit more space here to place the palm of your hand, and you still have access to all the buttons. This actually doesn't feel quite as comfortable to me as what the smaller one does, and I think it's just because this is a little too long, but it's definitely workable and passable for a decent remote. Now again, I don't have the Mac Mini yet, so I haven't tried this out with it. But the new Mac Minis are also crafted out of aluminum, so this will fit right in with the overall look. What I find kind of odd about this is that there's absolutely no Apple logo on it. Spinning around there, no Apple logo whatsoever. I find that kind of odd. I would think, just at least based on the color of the buttons, that you might see a black Apple somewhere back here, but that doesn't happen to be the case. The only indication that this is anything by Apple, other than obviously the looks of it, is that it says designed by Apple in California down there on the bottom. Overall, it's a cool little remote. It doesn't offer any sort of functionality that the original doesn't have, but it is a nice little remote. I picked this up at Best Buy for $19.99, and again, like I said, I bought a Mac Mini to replace my DirecTV. I figured I needed some sort of remote for it, so I decided to pick this up. And for 20 bucks, I feel it's definitely a worthy purchase. I can report back on it. I'll actually do a little video about my experience with a Mac Mini and watching TV once that finally arrives, if it ever does. I'll talk about that, about the shipping woes when that does come in and I record that video. But for now, I'm liking this remote. One of the things I found out about this, just the remotes in general, that I didn't know about previously, is that you can actually sync the remotes to a specific computer. That I didn't know because I have my MacBook here that I'm recording this on, and also in this room I have my iMac over there. And I would notice that as I'm using it, if my MacBook was open here, if I was using the remote here on my iMac, that both computers would respond to whatever button I'm pressing. And you definitely don't want that to happen. So what I found out was online that you can actually pair these with a specific computer, which is really, really nice. I'm glad you can do that. So when the Mac Mini arrives, I'll pair this with that, and I should be set. I shouldn't control any other devices except for the Mac Mini. So, $19.99. The new came out in October 2009. Apple remote. I recommend picking it up if you have some sort of device like the Mac Mini that you're using on your TV. Otherwise, there's really no reason to pick this up. If you're on a computer, you can just access the controls right there from your keyboard or mouse. So, all right, so that's it for now. Until I get my Mac Mini, this is Jesse signing off.